Okay, class, we're gonna do these two questions really quick. Um, so describe the two basic components of the oppositional culture thesis. To what extent do you find this explanation for the achievement gap persuasive? In making your case, cite at least two empirical findings or theoretical criticisms that were discussed in chapter 6. So the oppositional culture thesis on page 154 is more or less that young students of color see educational success as not cool, and that's what they break it down as. That culturally, it's just not important to Black or Hispanic students, and that it is acting white. And so the first part is that they equate school success with acting white, and the second component is that they don't want to be judged by their friends and deal with the social stigma of doing well in school, because that would be acting white. So the people who came up with this idea, Fordham and Ogbu, only had a sample size of 33. You can't prove anything with that. Ainsworth, Darnell, and Downey had a study of 17,000 students and found that Black students had a more positive view on school than white students, and Black students were more likely than white students to agree with the statement, education is important to getting a job. So I don't find the oppositional culture thesis at all persuasive. And I can give you another example. I went to elementary school with this really, really smart student. He was Asian, and another one who was Black. And they both refused to do their math homework because they didn't need to. They could sit down and ace the test. So Nathan, the Asian student, ended up being shipped off to the high school in third grade to take calculus tests with seniors. And he did okay because, he was brilliant. And the Black student, whose name I can't remember, got stuck in remedial classes with me. So, and just culturally, two separate paths from the same situation. They were smart enough, they were bored by their math homework. One kid was sent to high school when he was a child. The other one was held back, essentially. So define symbolic violence, provide a specific real-life example of symbolic violence, and explain how it contributes to the reproduction of racial inequality in the educational system. Use the main text to support your response. Symbolic violence is the ability of the majority to control the discussion of education and create a world where the dominant group's norms, values, and tastes are superior, other groups are inferior. So I have two examples. So one is code switching. So code switching is an example of symbolic violence, where if you are raised in a white family, you get to go to school and speak like you do in the home. And if you are not raised in a white family, you have to learn two separate languages, and you get to speak one at school and you speak one at home. And so white students are going to do better because they're not constantly putting any mental effort into presenting themselves the way the school wants them to present themselves. And then the The other example of symbolic violence, I'm actually wearing it. Moby Dick, written by Herman Melville. I love this book. Herman Melville, white dude. Um, you know, I read a lot of white dude books in high school. I read 2 William Shakespeare books a year starting in 7th grade. So that ends at 12. I read 12 William Shakespeare books. I read 2 books by black authors. One was Alice Walker, The Color Purple. She's an African American. The other was Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe, a Nigerian. So, you read white people books in high school. It's what you do. But you can't tell me there's only one really good book by an African American in the history of America. I mean, we've been around forever. We could put another African American book in the curriculum. So that is also symbolic violence. Thank you.